Hi, everyone. What we are going to learn today is about relative clauses. So, here are the contents of what we will be covering today, including the use of relative clauses, different types of relative clauses, and we will end up with doing some exercises. First, in the above examples, who is wearing a leather jacket and which you lent me are relative clauses. These clauses tell us which person or thing we mean. They are introduced by such relative pronouns as who, whom, which, that, etc. And there are two kinds of relative clauses, defining and non-defining. First, defining relative clauses about people are mainly beginning with who, whom, whose or that. The information they contain is necessary for us to identify who is being talked about. For the differences among who, whom and that, we use who or that as the subject of the clause. Here is an example. The old couple who, that live next door seldom have visitors. We have two separate sentences here, which is the old couple seldom have visitors, and they live next door. We can combine them together using the word who or that. Secondly, we use whom or that as the object of the word in the clause. For example, the boy whom that we met just now is Hung Hung's brother. In the above examples, who or that can be replaced by who. In informal spoken English, we normally put the preposition at the end of the relative clause and begin the clause with who, that, or leave out the relative pronoun. We use whose in relative clauses to talk about possession. For example, I've got a friend whose brother is a famous fashion designer. We use whose to replace his to combine both sentences together. As for defining clauses about things, it begins with which or that. Here's an example. Did you see the book which? That was on this table this morning. Which, that is the subject of the clause. Which or that can also be the object of the verb in the clause. In this case, which, that can be omitted. As for non-defining clauses, they do not try to identify which person or thing we mean. We already know which person or thing is meant. We use these clauses to give extra information. For instance, my father, who works in a bank, may be able to help you with these forms. Non-defining clauses are separated by commas from the rest of the sentence in written English, often one at the beginning of the clause and the other at the end. In non-defining clauses we use who, whom for people and which for things, but know that. These relative pronouns cannot be omitted. For the first example, I'm grateful to Paul, who helped us when we moved house. And we won't say I'm grateful to Paul, helped us, when we moved house. It will sound weird. Let's try some exercises here. Complete these sentences with who, whom, which, that or whose.